Always a decisive man who kept his own counsel, Joao's father had retired suddenly and without fanfare. Joao had learned the news over a glass of port. He'd never cared for the taste, but, sensing the importance of the moment, drank it seriously. "I'm finished," his father had said simply. "You are captain now." "I'm not ready." "Perhaps not, but life is ready for you." And like that, at 19, Joao found himself the captain of the Alexandria. His life's ambition realized, and he didn't want it. Not under these circumstances. But he'd done as his father asked and became captain. That had been 6 weeks ago. There had never been any question of the crew following him. Joao had worked on the Alexandria for more than a decade and knew every inch of her. Things had gone on as they always had. He had simply done what his father had always done. Until yesterday morning. His father had met him unannounced on the docks at Oliao, where the Alexandria berthed. It had given Joao a bad feeling. He'd feared that his father's health had taken a turn for the worse. They had walked to their favorite cafe at the old fish market. That was where his father had told him about the debt. 7 years earlier, the family had almost lost everything. Poor hauls, lower market prices, and unforeseen expenses had pushed his father to the brink of bankruptcy. Then the engine of the Alexandria had failed. Joao remembered it well. His father had been as withdrawn and somber as Joao had ever seen him. What Joao didn't know was that Baltazar Alves had come to his father with a proposition. He would finance the overhaul of the Alexandria and replace the engine. The trawler would remain in Joao's family. But 4 nights a year, she would belong to Baltazar Alves, their new patron. The Alexandria and its captain. Tonight was one of those nights, and his father had come to the docks that morning to pass the responsibility on to his son and to entrust him with the black box that was charting the Alexandria's course. At first, Joao had been angry at his father for getting them involved with a man like Baltazar Alves, angry that his father had concealed the truth all these years. But then Joao saw shame in his father's face and fell silent. His father was an honorable man. Joao saw he had only done what had to be done to take care of his family. How could Joao do any less? He took the device and asked what needed to be done. On the console, the device began beeping incessantly. Joao cut the engines and scanned the ocean. To starboard, a blue light strobed in the darkness. He brought the Alexandria alongside, and the crew used hooked poles to bring the mysterious packages on board. Each was perhaps 2 meters wide, 2 meters tall, 4 meters long, and bound in heavy plastic. Impossible to tell what might be inside. Joao was curious to open one and find out, but his father had warned him above all else never to tamper with Baltazar Alves's cargo. Instead, Joao ordered the crew to stow the packages in the hold. He wondered how many other boat captains were working for Alves this night. He hoped not many. If the stories were true, then once a man was in Baltazar Alves's debt, he never left it. Joao pushed the thought aside and went to help the crew. It would raise suspicions with the maritime police if they returned to Oliao entirely empty-handed. Chapter 2. The streets were all but deserted at this hour, like the pale, peaceful face of an old drunk sleeping off a night of poor choices. After the night's last, tourists had staggered home from the nightclubs, but before the morning's first, tourists stumbled out of bed to stake claim to a rectangle of sand. Before the sun climbed to its perch in the cloudless Mediterranean sky. When the street cleaners emerged to sweep up the broken glass and wash away the blood and the vomit and the urine. A dull reset before the good times rolled again. Gibson Vaughn's favorite time of day. The morning before the morning. Alone with his thoughts. Mercifully, he never remembered his dreams, hard memories of home, but he felt them in his body.